At my house, we love to entertain. My husband is an incredible cook, so I live for a good dinner party. We don't even need an occasion. Good food, great company, and a chance to decorate my table? Yes, please, I'm in. On this episode of Vintage Style Modern Life, I'm going to show you that by mixing classic furnishings with pre-loved pieces, you can create a dining room that is both inviting and uniquely curated. I'm Leah Ashley, and I've turned my love of vintage into a lifestyle. Whether it's a flea market, garage sale, or your grandma's closet, I live for a good treasure hunt. I believe that adding antiques and unique vintage finds into your decor brings your space to life and gives your home its soul. And it's my mission to share this passion of how to find the balance between old and new, and to show you how to incorporate vintage into your home, no matter your design style. This is Vintage Style Modern Life. Incorporating vintage into your dining room can be overwhelming, with fears that the room, and more importantly, your table, are gonna look like something out of Granny's attic. No offense, love you, Granny. The key to pulling off this look is to start with classic, sturdy pieces of furniture. So you want your big pieces of furniture, your investment pieces, to be clean, classic, and able to stand the test and trends of time. I love this dining table from the Design Network because it's classic shape. It's traditional in style, so it could be dressed up or dressed down. Depending on your taste, it could feel modern or vintage. The crisscross and diamond detailing on the top really set this table apart. The scrolled feet give this piece a timeless charm. And it comes with 2 leaves and can extend up to 11 feet, comfortably seating up to 10 people. Now that's my kind of dinner party. Next up, let's talk dining room chairs. Now, dining room chairs come in all different shapes and sizes, but right now I am loving the look of the Mismatched chairs. So that's when you use different sets of dining room chairs to complete your table. It kind of has a fun, stylized vibe, and it really makes your table more playful. Now, people are taking this trend to the max, and they're actually using a different chair for every single seat. And while I do love that look, we aren't taking it quite that far today. I found this set of 6 vintage chairs at a citywide garage sale. I just love the spindled backs and the distressed black paint. Originally, I thought about changing the upholstery on the seats, but decided that because it's so neutral, it really goes well with everything else in the house. For 20 bucks a chair, I just couldn't pass them up. The most important thing to keep in mind when buying vintage chairs is seat height. You don't want people to be on different levels at your dining room table. That's kind of an awkward dinner party. You're like, hey, hey. To ease into the mismatched look, I'm using a pair of host chairs that I found in the Design Network. These chairs with their turned legs and upholstered backs anchor the table. The nail heads are a fun spin on traditional styling, and the creamy fabric ensures that they will go with any style. Overall, these armchairs bring a bit of sophistication to the whole look. When it comes to centerpieces, there are a million different ways to decorate your table, but I really wanted this table to feel modern, clean, and fresh, even though I'm going to be using a lot of vintage elements. I like to start by adding some kind of runner or tablecloth to my table. Using table linens is a great way to add color and texture to your table. And because the top of this table is so pretty, I don't want to cover it up. So I'm opting to use a runner. What I love about these awesome metal candle holders are obviously their shape. They're cool, they're modern, they're classic. But I also love to think outside of the box. So we're swapping out candles and we're going to replace them as planters. Now, because I have swapped out my candle holders and made them into planters, we need candles. So this is the perfect opportunity for me to break out my brass vintage candlestick collection, because everybody looks better by candlelight. I've collected these for some time now, and I love mixing different shapes and sizes together. It creates a really dramatic table. And I'm adding in some antlers because why not? We're in Texas. Now, it used to be common knowledge how to set a table, right? Everybody knew, but in today's fast-paced world, that idea seems vintage in itself. We are a pretty laid-back family, so our table tends to err on the more casual side of things. But just because we don't host fancy affairs every weekend does not mean that we can't still wow our guests. One way to make a casual table feel a little bit more fancy is by adding chargers. Now, I own a couple of different sets, but I usually get the most use out of these really pretty natural jute round chargers. But when I'm feeling a little bit more fancy, I like to double them up. These galvanized chargers are cool, simple, and chic. When it comes to dishes, for me, it is vintage all the way. I love looking at different vintage dishes, and I love collecting different shapes and patterns and sizes. When I'm out on the hunt and I see a cute vintage dish, I always flip it over and I start looking for markings, insignias, and I start doing my research because I'm trying to see if they're maybe a little bit more valuable than just being cute. Most of the time, they're just cute, and I buy them anyways. because they're cute. If starting a vintage dishware collection is overwhelming, I always suggest starting with a simple set first. This beautiful set was passed down to me and it is my go-to for almost all of my table settings. You can't beat white and gold. A casual table calls for only one water glass and one wine glass. But when we're having dinner parties, I like to kick it up a notch and offer a white wine glass and a red wine glass. That's just more wine. Of course. When it comes to stemware, I love to mix modern and vintage glasses together. My water goblets are a vintage set that I picked up at Goodwill for $16, but the wine glasses are modern, chic, and clean. When it comes to napkins, you could definitely go vintage. I prefer to go modern because I don't like to iron them. A lot of people love to use different kinds of flatware, vintage sets that they've found at thrift stores or garage sales, but for me, I like to keep things simple. I have a modern set on hand. When I saw this ice bucket on the bottom shelf at the thrift store, covered in dust, I knew I had to have it. A little bit of TLC and a little bit of cleaning, this ice bucket was giving me visions of dinner parties lasting late into the night, overflowing with champagne. But my toddler gets up at 6 a.m., so who am I kidding? I bought the ice bucket anyways because it makes me feel more fabulous than I am. When I'm out hunting for treasures and I see marble, I don't care what it is, I buy it. In this case, it's in the form of these cute salt and pepper shakers. Marble anything makes your table feel a little bit more fabulous. No matter your style, mixing vintage into your dining room successfully is all about balance. Starting with strong classic pieces and then adding in touches of vintage are a great way to personalize the experience of entertaining. Remember, it's a party. Pour yourself a glass of champagne and have a great time. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Vintage Style Modern Life. I hope I inspired you to go on a treasure hunt all your own. And if you liked my dining room table, the host chairs, or the candle holders, you can shop them right here on the Design Network.